Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Waller's Wallet, and in this video, I'm gonna tell you 10 things about the points and miles game that you need to know. Because when it comes to points and miles and credit card rewards, there are just so many different things you have to consider. Now, if you want a simple way to help out the channel, consider hitting that thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn that bell notification on as well so you don't miss out on future videos. Now, one thing I love about this game is that there's really not a wrong way to play it. As long as you're hitting your goals, that's really all that matters. Whether it's flying up front in premium cabins or flying more frequently, maybe using cash back to pay off debt or using it to invest, it's really just also individualized. But here are 10 things that you need to know about points and miles. Number one, your application strategy is important. Now, in order to maximize your rewards and point earning opportunities, understanding different credit card application rules is so important. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people blow by Chase cards for something else and then lock themselves out of banks because they didn't know the rules for those banks. And as a general rule of thumb, you do want to start with Chase cards due to the 524 rule. That might mean it's going to take you a year or longer to get all the cards you need from Chase before moving on to other banks. And there's really only a few situations where burning a 524 slot for a non-Chase card would be worth it, like getting a 100,000 point platinum offer, for example. And I know people love their American Express cards, but let's be honest here. American Express is probably one of the easiest banks to get an approval for. So while you definitely should get an American Express card at some point, they really shouldn't be a priority early on. They're going to be great for that mid to late game after getting a few cards from banks with more strict requirements. But if you understand the application rules from banks, then you're going to be better able to maximize your bonuses and get more and better credit cards. Number two, all points are not created equal. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone complain about a particular program's points not being as good or as valuable as a different type of point, I'd have quite a few dollars in my pocket. Because 1 point from one program does not equal the value of points from another program, and this really trips people up, especially if you're new to this game or don't explore other point options. And I really feel this happens a lot to people who are invested in the Chase ecosystem, then finally get an American Express card and realize how different they really are. And the reality is all points have value, but those values are going to be different based on the type of points that they are. And some points offer far more value than others, and that could make them more useful for you. So understanding how many points it would take for a redemption and how easy it is to earn those points is very important. For example, it may take 60,000 points a night to stay at a Hilton property and only 12,000 points to stay at a Hyatt property. That does not mean Hilton points are worthless. They're just a different currency and may have a lower cent per point value than Hyatt points. But at the same time, there are so many more ways to earn Hilton points with their co-branded credit cards, American Express membership reward points, and other ways as well than it is to earn Hyatt points. Then on average, hotel points offer less value than airline miles, but each types of points have a role in this game. But if you assume all points are similar in value or usefulness, you're really just setting yourself up for disappointment. And that leads to point number three. Point values are subjective. Now, this is always fun to talk about with people because people don't always calculate point values based on how they travel or their redemptions. Too often, I see someone talk about TPG point values or some other blog values, and great, they do assign value to those points. But that does not mean their value is the value that you should be using for your points. For example, I value certain points much lower than TPG. The reason why is I'm a coach flyer, so to say I should be getting 2+ cents per point for some flight is unrealistic, and it gives you an illusion that your points are worth more than they actually are. And if those values aren't reflective of your travel style, then it really could be setting yourself up for failure. Because if you're a luxury traveler, you can get a higher cent per point value for your points, so you might assign them a higher value. But if you're someone who stays at budget properties or fly in cattle class like I do, then you're going to get a lower cent per point value. But it's just important to run the numbers of hotels and flights that you would take to give yourself a realistic point value for your points. Because how one person values their points may not be the right way for you to value your points. Number 4, flexible currency is the best for points. Now, airline and hotel points definitely have their place in this game, but flexible currency is king for point earnings. And flexible currencies are points like ultimate rewards, membership rewards, thank you points, and Capital One miles, because these give you just so many more opportunities, which can lead to some great redemptions. Specific programs are great if you have a particular redemption in mind, but if you're only earning one type of miles like American Airlines, for example, you're basically putting all your eggs in one basket. If that program changes or devalues their program, then your points just lost value and it could take you more points for a particular redemption. But flexible currencies protect you from these devaluations and give you more access to more options, which is really what we want. So unless you're working on a particular redemption requiring specific currency, you really should be emphasizing your earnings on flexible currencies. Number 5, diversify your points. Now this cannot be stated enough. Diversifying your points is so important because not all programs or points have the same access to the same redemption options, or they don't even have the same value for similar redemption options. For example, the Chase Sapphire Reserve will let you redeem your ultimate reward points at 1.5 cents per point for travel portal redemptions, while the American Express Platinum Card will let you redeem at 1 cent per point for airfare or just about 0.7 cents for hotels. But American Express has way better airline transfer partners than Chase does. But by diversifying your points and miles, it will let you take advantage of opportunities or give you access to opportunities for more redemption options. Because when a certain program is having a great deal and you don't have those points, it can be frustrating, especially if the deal is to a place that you want to visit. So it might take some time, especially as you maximize your credit card applications, but definitely look to expand into more point currencies because diversifying just gives you more opportunities. Number 6, be flexible. Earning points, it's so easy, from credit card bonuses to daily earning opportunities to even targeted offers. But when it comes to redemptions, to really be successful, you do need to have some degree of flexibility. Because if you're too rigid and don't have flexibility, it can be quite hard to redeem your points or redeem them for a suitable value. And that can be discouraging to people or make people believe earning points isn't worth it. Inflexibility can mean you adjust the dates that you're traveling or even the location that you would be visiting, because even just changing your trip just a few days could potentially save you thousands of miles, or even deciding to change your location could cost you fewer miles as well. But I can't stress flexibility enough. The more flexible you are, the more options you have that could cost you fewer miles, which means more points for future trips. Number 7, nothing is free. One of my biggest pet peeves from bloggers or YouTubers is when they say travel for free, because traveling for free doesn't happen very often, and these are more often than not just clickbait titles. Because even with points, you can get the cost of travel to a small fraction of the true cost, but you still have taxes and fees for those flights, you have food expenses and other travel related expenses associated with travel. So while we can reduce the cost a lot, it's not free. I mean, on average, I pay roughly 10% or less for my airfare and accommodations than the money I save here on this portion of my trip I use to have more experiences at my destination. And some of your credit cards have high annual fees, which can elevate your travel experience or even offer you better protections. And there's nothing wrong with this, and those cards can be great, but there's always a cost to this game. We're just fortunate enough to use these benefits and points to reduce our costs to a much smaller and more manageable amount. But in the end, it's not free. Number 8, redeem your points. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but you should be redeeming your points. The problem I see with many people is they have redemption paralysis because they're afraid they aren't redeeming for the best value, or they just don't want to use their points. Now look, hoarding your points does nothing for you and it offers you no value. Now I do understand 2020 was different and many of us have bloated point totals compared to what we usually have. So for 2020, people do get a pass here. But in a normal year, if you aren't using your points, it really doesn't help you. And points lose value a lot faster than the rate of inflation. Then as far as redemption paralysis, if you see a trip you want to book and you've done the best searching you know how to do, then go for it. Too often I see someone wait and not book something because they fear they aren't getting the best redemption or might be getting a value under what their expected cent per point value is. And to those people, I say just stop it. If you've done the searching and found the trip, book it. You can always earn more points. But redemption paralysis can really cause you to miss out on that trip or eventually cost you more miles to book that same trip. And look, we've all made redemptions that afterwards we realize we could have done something just a little bit better. But you know what? When you get on the plane or into your hotel room, you won't care or maybe even not even remember the fact you spent an extra 10,000 points for that ticket. Number 9, you want to run the numbers. Now when it comes to the credit cards and the points you'll earn, along with the benefits they provide you, or even redemptions, you need to do the math and not blindly follow some blogger or YouTuber showing off their favorite cards and telling you how great they are. Because what may work well for them may not be the best for you. And also keep in mind, certain cards are given more spotlight due to the commission they pay the people when you're approved for those cards. And you always need to compare your cards to other comparable cards in your portfolio or cards that are available to you, making sure that the card you're using gives you the best value at the best price. Because it's funny to see how many people have cards in their wallets that they think they're getting great value from. But when you look at their actual spend and other options available to them, it may not be the best option for them. And the same thing goes for redemptions. You need to crunch the numbers. Because while a program could be costing you fewer miles for a flight, the taxes and fees could be different, and then you would need to decide if paying more in taxes and fees is worth it or using the extra miles to save yourself some cash. But the math is just so important, and if you do the math, it will be extremely helpful for you and really help guide you. And then lastly, this all takes time to learn. There is such a steep learning curve to some of these programs and points. But the great thing is you can go as detailed as you want, or you can just learn a few things and be happy with it. But you're not gonna learn everything in one day. And the game changes so much and so fast that there's always something more to learn or stay up on. But what I always tell people to do is take 1 or 2 programs that they may use, then learn the basics of those programs, and then go deeper as you understand it. And then if you want to, learn another program. And the more you do this, the more you'll learn. And slowly, you'll really see there's only a handful of programs that people use far more often than others, and there are some programs just that have niche uses. But don't get discouraged if you don't understand something, because this all just takes time. But be sure to ask questions, because that's how you learn more about these programs. And this goes for newbies as well as for those seasoned points enthusiasts as well. Because there are plenty of people out there who help guide you to learn more, or maybe give you a different perspective or idea on a program that you may not have thought of. Now the points and miles game or earning cash back, it's so much fun, and it can really unlock opportunities to see new places, make new memories, pay off debt, or even help you invest for the future. And I really see the points game as a puzzle. And if you plan it out and put the pieces together correctly, you get to travel the world if you want to for only a small fraction of the price. But how can you not enjoy turning your everyday purchases into rewards and giving you the opportunity to travel or use that money however you want? But just remember to have fun with it, because this game is a very fun, addicting game. So tell me, what's a tip you have when it comes to redeeming your points? Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this video. If you want to help support the channel, take a look at the links down in the description below. And if you know somebody that could benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And until next time, safe travel and take care.